Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Haunt Talk. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Jason's Woods, and that is in Lancaster, PA. Kind of, you have to really in the middle of Amish country, this one seems to be. It is kind of like on a fairly sizable amount of farmland. A lot of these, like, Philly-ish area attractions tend to be, like, multiple haunts.
Yeah.
Like, and they just, it's like, lots of haunts, and there's usually a hayride in there somewhere. Yeah. It's kind of interesting how that goes. Now, it is also close to Field of Screams. That review should already be up, so if you're interested in that place, too, it's like a 15-minute drive from one or the other. Mm-hmm. You know, you can definitely, if you get there, I'd probably recommend going to Jason's Woods first if you want to do both of them.
Yeah.
But you can definitely get both in one night. You might have to buy a fast pass depending on how busy they are. But if you get there, like, right at open. Because, did we buy a fast pass for? Oh, we did for Jason's Woods, yeah. But yes. You can easily hit both of them up. But that being said, we will get right into the review, which of course means that it's time to refer to the Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead!
All right, so starting off with sets and props. Like we said at the beginning, Jason's Woods is numerous haunted houses and a hayride. So we'll kind of start off with the hayride.
I feel like that's definitely the star of the show.
Yes, very much so. So we heard things about this hayride that the wagon like moves with the scenes and stuff like that. So we were intrigued. That's one of the major reasons why we wanted to go to this place was because we heard that. What do they call it?
IMT. I forget what they said it stands for.
Like immersive.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Motion technology or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, yes, the hay wagon does move.
it's a little bit jarring.
It is very jarring.
Man, I almost wish that I wouldn't have known about it, because could you imagine if you go on this thing and you have no idea? Because like the very first scene, the hayride like literally goes like this, like kind of almost like if you're on, like Kim actually said, it did remind me a little bit of like something like Universal used to have, like the disaster transport or whatever. It kind of reminds you of like a motion simulator,
like the back lot thing where they like push you, because the first scene is like an earthquake scene,
right? So
it starts shaking it and everything, and then you slide into an area because the ground is supposed to be like swallowing you up and stuff like that. Yeah, I think if you had not known about it, you would have been like, "Oh my god, we're gonna die," you know?
Yeah. But it is a fun little gimmick that I don't know if any other hayride has. Yeah. If they do, I certainly have not seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never heard of it before this, because that's what intrigued me about this place. So, yeah, so they had a lot of different scenes in the hayride. They had like an earthquake. Oh, yeah, there was so much fire. Like, literally, I had to check to make sure my hair wasn't on fire because it was so close and so hot.
Yeah.
And I was scared. I'm like, do I still have all my hair?
There's particularly a scene later in the hayride. I don't even know if I put it in the notes, but it's like a semi is like coming at the hay wagon, and when it hits, because we're on the back like watching over there, like fire erupts like right behind us from a barrel, and I mean, I kid you not, I probably could have touched it if I would have reached out. Man, that was hot. Yeah, like I was like, woof. It was like sweating.
Yeah, it was really, really scary. They had vampires, a castle with a Tesla coil, which I've never seen a Tesla coil in a hayride.
Yeah, it was a smaller one. It wasn't one like Schoolhouse has.
Yeah.
But it was like a little small one, and it wasn't caged. It just had a little thing, and there was like a little lab doctor and stuff in there. And the whole hayride would move back and forth in the castle, so that was cool. They had I think one of the next scenes, they have like this, they call it the meat grinder, and it's like these rolling pins, and it does the hay wagon, at least the back. The front didn't seem to really lift.
Yeah, it looked like it was just the back.
But the back like lifts you way up. It's just really weird being on a hayride that lifts into the sky.
Yeah, because the actor actually said something about, he said, I bet you thought sitting in the back would not get you into trouble or something like that, because only the back lifted up into the meat grinder.
Yeah.
So, then they had,
There was. It was kind of weird though, because there was a mix. Like some scenes are super elaborate on the hayride, and other ones were a lot more like very basic, like old school. It was kind of strange. Like there was one they just projected like Texas Chainsaw Massacre on a screen. It was kind of like you sat there for like almost 3 minutes, and then finally like Leatherface comes through a door. We'll talk more about that in actors, but like the scene was just like, I'm like, okay, like I think you sat there for too long watching this random clip of Texas Chainsaw Massacre before anything happened. Like most of the scenes on the hayride were pretty cool though, and like having that moving tractor and all of the pyrotechnics really added something. And then like one of the last scenes, there's like this giant demon thing that comes out of this like volcano. Yeah. And they shoot off a like cannon or something like right by you that scared the crap out of everyone because loud noises are scary. But and that was, and then once you get off the hayride, you can do a 3 or a 5 part ticket, which I guess we'll talk more about in value. But if you're doing the 5 ticket, they send you to the trail, because you can't do the trail if you do the 3 ticket. So you don't get to pick and choose what the ticket. You do the 3 or the 5, and if you do the 5, there's 2 specific attractions you don't do on the 3. And the trail is the first one of them. I forget what was the exact name.
It's called Lost in Jason's Woods.
Yeah, and the trail itself did not have much. It was just kind of like walking around in darkness for the most part. It was kind of hard to tell where the trail was some of the times.
But there wasn't very many scenes in there.
Yeah, there really wasn't many.
And you could hear like the hayride.
Yeah, because it's very right close. At one point you actually cross. There's like an actor that lets you cross the hayride's path.
Oh yeah, Death was the crossing guard.
Yeah.
There was somebody dressed like the Grim Reaper, and they were the crossing guard.
That was weird. That was funny. But there was like a spider scene and stuff like that. There was a well scene, which was supposed to be like the ring. There was went through some barrels and stuff. I think there was like a shack that you walked through, and I think the floor vibrated or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But then after that was there wasn't much else. You were pretty much done at the trail, and then it was time to go into the haunts. There are 3 different haunts. The first one we went to was, Zombie Apocalypse. And this is when I really think that I was really starting to feel like the hayride is definitely the main focus, because the Zombie Apocalypse haunt was not great in my opinion. A lot of black hallways. Yes. It looked like something you would see at like a fairground haunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly the feeling I got.
The facade was pretty cool for it. I did like the facade. And then Chamber of Horrors, this one was just kind of another mix match one. There was just varying different things. Nothing really stood out to me inside the haunt too much. There was a cool little outside section that was like a playground, and there was like a moving bus that moved back and forth.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was definitely really cool. But again, inside the haunt, not a lot of detail. This one was better than Zombie Apocalypse though, because there was like it was more traditional haunted house themed, I guess. Because there was like a kitchen, and I do believe there was like a staircase and a living room. Less black hallways. They were still there, but not as much.
Yeah, not as much. But yeah, it had that more of like a haunted house kind of theme to it.
Yeah.
And then lastly was Carnival of Fear, which of course, clowns. Because everybody hates clowns. Again, I mean, this had a little bit more than probably everything else. It had your typical, like, it was weird. It was like you could see into each area you were going into. Mm-hmm. It was really weird because they had like bars separating things and not really like full walls. Yeah. It was really strange. And like we actually walked into like a area we weren't supposed to go into. At one point, and it was really confusing.
Yeah, it was kind of because it was like it was really confusing
because all the other haunts had curtains that were black. Yeah, and this one we saw a black curtain, so we started walking into it. No, this one had white curtains.
Yeah, it was odd.
It was really strange.
Yeah, like I said, I really think that the hayride is what you go here for, and we'll talk about it more in value, but like I'd probably recommend doing the one that includes less, but just the hayride. So the hayride, really pulling it up here, like we rate everything together because we assume that most people are going to go for everything. We didn't rate the hayride separate, but I'd probably give the hayride an 8.5 or a 9. Yeah. I'd actually probably give it a 9 because I think it's really worth seeing. But because we're taking everything into consideration overall, we gave it a 7.75. And basically that's the hayride. The haunted houses aren't terrible, but the hayride is the reason why you go. And I would like to see the haunted houses get a little bit better.
Yeah.
All right, so moving right along to actors. Now, on the hayride, they actually did get on the hayride during the scenes, which was kind of cool because a lot of the kids were like freaking out and stuff like that. They would like run down the middle and all of that kind of thing. The only problem we had is they didn't like get on in between the scenes at all. Yeah. There's like, I would really like if there was a couple roamers that would just kind of pop out of the woods and like scare you and stuff, but they were exclusively at the scenes. There was like no one like in between pretty much, I don't think, at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, it kind of like was disappointing because there was a lot of really good spots where they could have been.
There was, and I'm sure that has to do with like every place having actor shortages and stuff like that. We really like the ghillie suit guy because like when he got on, was it you or me? I forget which one of us was like, ghillie suit guy.
Oh yeah, I said, I'm like, yay, ghillie suit, and he's like, yes it is, and it's very hot.
Which I just kind of thought was funny because I mean, you know, I don't really know if you can break character as a ghillie suit guy. What is your character? Camouflage. Like, that's not a character, so it's okay. The scientist guy was really cool because, and I don't think this was the only one that did it, but like when some of the actors would like have a thing where they would be like, come near me, and then the whole hay wagon would go and like tilt and go towards the actor. So that was pretty cool, and I think that was one of the first ones that actually did that. We mentioned briefly earlier, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface, he was pretty cool because like at the end as we were like going away, he was actually like swinging it around his head.
Yeah, he was doing that signature thing where he was just swinging it around and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool that he was actually getting into it.
Yeah, he did a pretty good job at it. Most of the actors were pretty decent on the hayride. So there wasn't a lot of them, but they had like lines and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Now, and then you get to the trail and there was not many actors on here. Just like there wasn't many scenes, there were not many actors. It was funny. There was a scene that was supposed to be the ring, and I think I said, oh, it's the ring girl or whatever. I don't remember what her actual name. What's her actual name? Is it Samara? Yeah, I think that's the ring. Yeah. And I say it, and she just
yeah, she's like, you are correct, kind of thing. She's just like, yeah.
Yeah. She was like crawling across the ground and stuff. In the haunts, they're just, you know, there wasn't many of them, but not in that, but a lot of them didn't really seem to try very much. There was a couple ones that kind of jumped out and got us, but wasn't much dialogue. There was like, I know like the guy by the bus was like talking to us a little bit and stuff.
And the girl that was in the playground, she was...
Yeah, she was pretty cool, the girl that was in the little playground. But yeah, most of them, didn't really like, a lot of them just stood in the scene, didn't really do much besides look at you.
Yeah, or they were just like kind of roaming around and not really doing anything.
Not really jumping out or talking, interacting. Yeah, just like with sets and props, actors on the hayride were pretty good, but in all the haunts and stuff, it was really downhill, and there was just quite a bit of dead space and stuff like that. We gave actors a 7.
All right, so then that's moving on to scare factor. There was a lot of pyrotechnics. Like we said before, there was a lot of fire.
Yeah, they really have an obsession with fire. Like, they put it everywhere they can. Even like on the couple houses that had outside sections. Well, the first one was an outside section where as you're leaving, they made sure to have a barrel of fire to blow up.
Right.
And then they also had a barrel of fire in, I think it was the carnival one. What was it called again?
Oh, yeah. Carnival of Fear.
Yeah. They had a little section where you had to walk by another barrel that shot fire. But on the hayride, it was almost like every other scene, it seemed like. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're going to shoot fire at you.
And, of course, the hayride actually, like, you know, the hay wagon actually moving was really freaky.
Yeah, that part was freaky, yeah.
You didn't expect, like, I expected it, but I didn't expect the way that it did it. Like he said with the lab part, I didn't expect to him go, come closer, and the whole thing just shifted towards him.
It would also shake, too, which was cool.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, and there was a really loud gunshot that scared the crap out of us. We talked about that in sets and props of the volcano scene. But outside of that, though, like, the actors didn't really touch you, and not many of them jump scared on the hay wagon. They were just kind of, like, there doing their thing. Like, there's a Freddy versus Jason scene, and nothing really happened there. And in the houses, just because, like, they kind of just pump you through, like, a conga line, there really isn't much opportunity to get scared. There's also not much gore. So we didn't think it was very scary. We feel like this one is fairly family friendly. The hayride can be a little weird just because of the fact that it actually moves.
Yeah.
But I think that's more thrilling than actually scaring. It's more of like a thrill, like a theme park ride. You know, it'd be like saying like a simulator scary because it moves.
Yeah.
So we gave scare factor a 6. I think this is one that is decent, especially for the hayride, and that to take a slightly younger audience too. Not like crazy young, but I think it'd be safe for like teenagers probably.
Yeah.
I think that it would be fine for that.
So that moves us on to value. Like we said, there was a 3 attraction ticket, and then there's a 5 attraction ticket.
So yeah, if you do the 3 attraction, you get to do the hayride, zombie apocalypse, and chamber of horrors. If you do the 5, you get Lost in the Woods and Carnival of Fear.
Yeah. So it was the hayride itself was about 30 minutes long.
Almost exactly. Yeah.
The trail was about 10 minutes long. That's the Lost in Jason's Woods. And then each of the haunts were about 5 minutes apiece to get through.
Yeah.
So it took us about an hour to get through everything.
Which is a pretty decent amount of time.
Yeah. So for the 3 shows, for the 3 attractions, it's $25. And then for the 5 attractions, it's $40. And for VIP, it's $55.
Right. Because they don't have a VIP. If you do VIP, you have to do all 5.
Yeah.
Now, this is the rare occasion where I actually might recommend doing the 3 show. Because they're $25. Just the hayride alone, I think, is probably worth about 20 or so.
Yeah.
So the fact that you get the 200 houses thrown in there for an extra $5, you know, if you're going by what I said, I think that is pretty good value. It's just the 5 show. The trail to me was just kind of walking around in darkness on a kind of sketchy path.
Yeah.
And the carnival one didn't really do much for me, you know, and that's an extra, $15?
Yeah.
So for me, I would recommend for most people, unless you really want to see it all, like you're not going to miss much, I guess, what I'm saying, if you do the 3 show tour, because there is no option for just the hayride, or, you know, that might be what I would recommend. But still, overall, the value is pretty good because you're getting a lot of haunt for your money either way you do go with it. So we did give that an 8. And, you know, I mean, I say that, but, you know, if you're going there, you're probably going to want to experience the whole thing. I'm just saying, you know, if you're in like a time crunch and trying to do other places, the hayride is the main star of the show by far. I don't know much about this place's history, didn't really look into it, but I assume the hayride's probably the first thing that they started.
Probably.
And they've just kind of added the other things. Because a lot of places will do that. You'll notice is they'll add like a haunt or something like that. Almost as an afterthought, but it just makes it look like more value when you plan on going to a place. If you see all of these other things, it might make you pick it over one that only has 1 or 2 attractions. Very similar to the Beacon haunt that we did last year, because like there was no reason for that haunted house to be there.
Yeah, no.
Core Maze was great, and it was long, and the haunt was like 3 minutes long, and it wasn't good. So, I mean, they do that a lot.
Yeah.
But that brings us to our overall score. We gave it a 7.5. And again, if you're just judging the hayride, it's probably somewhere in the vicinity of an 8 to a 9. I do think it's worth going because I've never seen any other place that does that IMT thing with the hay wagon where it moves and stuff. I think that alone is unique enough to go to. Even if you're just wanting that, you know, pay for the, you know, do the $25 one. I think it's well worth your time and money to go just to see that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They have some like little 5-minute escape rooms you can do as well. Obviously, we don't do that stuff because we're trying to do multiple in a night. So we don't usually do the extra stuff. We just do the haunts that they have. Yeah, have you been there? What did you think about it? Let us know. Also, if there are any places you want us to check out, make sure you let us know about that. Of course, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to click the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Also, make sure to check out our Patreon. We also do a lot of other stuff in the off season. We have a podcast, which is also in video form, that is called Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
Where we talk about real spooky stuff. Sometimes other stuff as well, but like cryptids, all of that kind of stuff. So you're into real spooky stuff, hauntings, and all of that. Make sure to give that a check out. We have links to the actual podcast, and if you want to watch in video form, that's on the YouTube channel. It's in a playlist called Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts. It's about 30 episodes you can check out. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.